Welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you news from Wednesday's City Council meeting, presidential polls, other campaign news. There's a carnival in Ridgecrest this week, today's gas prices, weather, sports, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Whitney. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. Well, the City Council held their regular meeting last Wednesday. We already reported yesterday that the big announcement was that the Ridgecrest Jail would not be closed for now. That Sheriff Youngblood agreed to keep it open until July 1st. This is to give time for the affected parties to work together to figure a way to keep open next fiscal year. The chief made awards to Sergeant Atkins and Officer Buckman. They were presented awards for the efforts to save a suicidal person. When they arrived at a residence, they observed a man leaning out of a second-story window with a rope around his neck. As they tried to talk him down, the man jumped out of the window and began hanging himself. They both jumped up onto a box, lifted the man high enough so someone above the man could cut the rope. Then they lowered him to the ground. He was then taken for treatment. The chief closed that this is the type of police officers we have here. They were provided a standing ovation from the council and the audience. In the rest of the agenda, the council got a presentation of the fiscal year 2015 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report on the City of Ridgecrest. This was a report from an outside auditor that provides this audit. The conclusion of the audit is that all accounts are in good status, and that the city is moving to pay off certain obligations is very good. Next, they awarded a construction agreement to AC Electric Company in the amount of $357,000 for the installation of traffic signals at the intersection of South China Lake and Bowman Road. This project will be done in coordination with the new Walmart intersection improvements. Next, they adopted a resolution of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest setting dates and times for the operation of irrigation systems. These are the same times as what the Water District has established. But again, the city will not be the enforcement of water ordinances. That is the duty of the Water District. Then they held a second reading of an adoption of Ordinance 16-01, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest, amending the Ridgecrest Municipal Code as it relates to water-efficient landscaping. Then the agenda went into discussion and other action items. The first item appeared to be routine until Mayor Breeden read a prepared statement about City Manager Dennis Spear. The agenda item was to approve a 5% pay increase for the salary of the position of City Manager. In her statement, she provided accolades to his performance to doing two jobs for the city, that of the City Manager and Public Works Director. It seems her statement was mainly that she felt that the city shouldn't continue to force him to do two jobs, but get him some help. Following her comments, Sanders joined in his praise. The other three council members offered no statements. Then the strange part. The mayor called for a motion to approve the raise. Sanders made the motion. There was a long pause until it received a second. Then the vote was called for. The motion passed on a 3-2 vote. Sanders, Acton, and Thomas approving the raise, and Breeden and Maurer voting no for the raise. However, the no voters offered no explanation as to why they voted against the raise. And the final item was they received a presentation and held discussion from the Technology Committee on reliable, community-wide broadband implementation. They made the case that the city should take the lead in establishing the implementation of a new citywide fiber optic network, that this would hook up to the recently installed fiber backbone that went from Barstow to Reno, Nevada. The opportunity of high-speed internet would spark more economic development and improve hiring for the base. A couple businesses commented on how they have a need for this high-speed internet now. The committee's research has not found any private provider willing to put in the investment to distribute the network citywide. So they believe the city has to step up and do it. It seemed all the council agreed that they should, and of course, it all comes down to money, which the city does not have. Running a fiber network throughout the whole city will be a huge expense. There was some talk of grants available for this. The committee stated that the first thing that needs to be done is to hire a program manager to bring this all together, and that the city should do so quickly. The committee stated they were willing to volunteer to work with someone they might hire to manage the task, but that they couldn't do it as a volunteer. The job is too difficult and too time-consuming. Well, nothing was really decided, but it is clear that the council would like to find a way to make it happen. However, the issue has been referred to the city org committee for follow-up and planning on how to proceed. Well, the latest presidential campaign polls are showing Trump and Clinton with the lead in their parties. The current South Carolina poll shows Trump at 37, Cruz at 19, Rubio 15, Bush and Carson at 9, and Kasich at 6. On the Democratic side, the polls show Clinton leading with 59 and Sanders at 30. In the Nevada polls, they show Clinton and Sanders in a dead heat, with Clinton at 53 and Sanders at 47. The Republicans in Nevada show Trump leading with 39, Cruz 23, Rubio 19, Kasich 9, and Carson and Bush at 5. The elections in South Carolina are on Saturday. The caucuses start this Saturday in Nevada as well. The latest national CBS poll shows Trump at 35, Cruz at 18, Rubio at 12, Kasich at 11, Carson at 4, and Bush at 4. The latest Democratic national poll shows another dead heat between Clinton and Sanders. Their numbers show at 44 and Sanders at 43. So the Democrat campaign seems much tighter than the Republican campaigns. Now stay with us for news about the CNN town hall held last Wednesday. Thanks for staying with us. In other campaign news, CNN hosted town halls for 3 Republican candidates Wednesday evening: Cruz, Rubio, and Carson. Thursday night, they are holding part 2 of the town hall and hosting Trump, Bush, and Kasich. All candidates had about a half an hour. They handled questions from the moderators and the audience. Marco Rubio showed why he spooks Democrats, while Ted Cruz tried to put a scare into Donald Trump during CNN's town hall Wednesday night. The first 3 candidates to participate in the 2-night event, moderated by Anderson Cooper, showcased their different styles of conservatism. Ben Carson quoted scripture to show how faith guides his politics. Rubio, the Florida senator, told stories about the values he learned as a child. And Cruz, the Texas senator, argued he's the most rock-ribbed of them all, saying he has defended conservative values throughout his private and public career. Cruz attacked Trump while defending his own credentials, as he argued that he's the candidate voters will appoint right-leaning Supreme Court justices. His comments underscored his position in the race. Cruz feels he is within striking distance of Trump, and he's fighting for first place rather than reprising his debate stage battles with Rubio, who polls show is currently in 3rd behind Trump and Cruz. Cruz's performance showed why he was an effective lawyer. He touted fighting for constitutional freedoms his entire adult life, as both a government attorney and in private practice. He easily fielded a question about whether his Canadian birth calls his eligibility for the presidency into question, saying he's never breathed a breath of air as anything but an American citizen. And he explained why many of his Senate colleagues, as one of the questioners said, don't like him. Cruz had remarkably little to say about his own policies, choosing to devote time to defending himself and attacking others. It's indicative of his style of politics: confrontational, incendiary, and obstructionist. Rubio offered these comments. When asked how he addressed racism, the Florida senator showcased perhaps his most valuable skill: his ability to connect his life and story and personal experience to his political values. He said he has an African-American friend who was a police officer himself, yet was pulled over 7-8 times over several years without being ever ticketed. When Cooper asked Rubio whether he experienced racism in his own life, the senator recalled being 7 years old in Las Vegas during a 1980s Mariel boat lift, a mass immigration of Cubans to the United States. He remembered neighborhood teenagers yelling at his Cuban-born parents to get back on the boat. He said, "What boat? My mom doesn't even swim. She's afraid of water," he said, explaining that his thoughts as a child prompting laughter in the audience. He spoke with ease and compassion about academic underperformance, broken homes, dangerous housing, substandard housing, and other race-related challenges. Cruz, in his formal, harsh style, can be quite effective in making an argument, but his at a disadvantage in winning over hearts. Rubio has figured out how to share his personal experience in a way that can reach voters who do not have a hard ideological edge. Responding to a teacher's question about the problems the schools inherit because of family breakdown, Rubio began, "I have 3 educators in my family, elementary school, and I hear the same exact thing because ultimately our schools are inheriting whatever society sends them in the morning." He then continued, "If a child is being raised in a broken home, living in substandard housing, no access to health care, and facing these other challenges you talked about, this child faces significant obstacles and they need to be addressed." Next to Ben Carson. On Wednesday, without the buzzers of interjecting moderators and other candidates contending for talk time, he was able to delve more deeply into his life story. One audience person questioned was about his mild demeanor and quiet style. The questioner asked if he had the power and ambition to fight for us. The retired neurosurgeon used that time to talk about his mild-mannered demeanor and argued that, despite GOP concerns, it would help him confront a Democratic opponent in the general election. He said, "I had a program at the hospital where I'd bring in 800 students at a time, frequently elementary students. And you would say, how are you going to be able to speak to 800 elementary students and keep them quiet?" He said, "You know what? By speaking softly. Because then they'd say, 'Oh, what's he saying?' and they would shut up," Carson said. Carson was very gracious toward other candidates, not wanting to get into any more confrontations with them. But all said and done, the South Carolina elections are Saturday, so by Monday we should already know how they did by then. Next is Nevada, and then on to Super Tuesday in March. That is going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight leading up to that date. All the candidates are seemingly ready to take on whoever wins the Democratic nomination. Well, how about some fun news? Fun news for the kids. Well, this week there's a carnival going on again in Ridgecrest. Police and Citizens Together, PACT, is once again presenting the Spring Carnival. This is a spring fundraiser for PACT. The carnival will be held in Leroy Jackson Park across from La Mirage housing area and by the city skate park. PACT gets 20% of the proceeds from this event. The carnival runs through Sunday, February 21st. It will be open tonight until 10 p.m. Saturday will run noon to 11 and Sunday noon to 9. So get ready for a carnival and help support PACT. PACT is the main volunteer organization that supports the Ridgecrest Police Department. It's carnival time right now in Ridgecrest. Go on out and have some fun. In local club news, the Democrat Club of the High Desert will hold their monthly meeting Saturday. It will be at the Clarion Inn on North China Lake Boulevard. The guest speaker will be Dr. Aisha Rollins. She is a pediatrician with Ridgecrest Regional Hospital. She received her medical degree from Morehouse School of Medicine. She's been in practice for over 5 years now. Everyone is welcome to attend. There is no admission fee. Buying a lunch is optional. For more information, call the club's press officer, Matthew Alexander, at 760-382-3878. Again, they meet Saturday at noon at the Clarion Inn. Now, in KZGN's continuous effort to provide news and information you've asked for, here are today's gas prices for Ridgecrest and some surrounding areas. Well, since my last report on Wednesday, gas prices everywhere are dropping again. Local prices dropped 4 cents per gallon. Ridgecrest still has the lowest prices in all the areas we are monitoring. As of this morning, Ridgecrest is ranging from $2.11 to $2.69. Lancaster from $2.32 to $2.79. The LA Valley area $2.21 to $2.39. And the Bishop area $2.63 to $2.99. We have one station at $2.11 and 2 other stations at $2.13 per gallon. Tune in Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for updates. We at KZGN always suggest you shop locally to support our local economy. Remember, when you pay sales tax out of town, you are helping those cities pave their streets instead of here. Now stay with us. After the break, we'll have weather and sports. Thanks for staying with us. Now here's Lane with the weather.
Thank you, Tom. From the National Weather Service, strong winds are expected today across a large area spanning from the Rockies to the Great Lakes and Tennessee Valley. Wind gusts may exceed 60 miles per hour at times in some areas. Further west, the next in a series of storm systems will impact the Pacific Northwest beginning today and continuing into Saturday. Heavy mountain snowfall, lower elevation rain, and strong winds may be possible. Temperatures across the nation. Carolinas at 47, Georgia 59, Arkansas 69, Northern Texas 78, Arizona 71, and Los Angeles at 61. And for us locally, tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 36, southwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, sunny with a high near 69, west-southwest wind 5 miles per hour. Saturday night, mostly clear with a low around 38, west wind 5 miles per hour. Sunday, sunny with a high near 73, west wind 5 miles per hour. Sunday night, mostly clear with a low around 41, west-northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Monday, sunny with a high near 74, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Monday night, mostly clear with a low around 41, east-southeast wind 5 miles per hour. And Tuesday, sunny with a high near 75 with a calm wind. And that is your forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tom.
Thanks, Lane. And now here's Tom Heck with sports.
And a very pleasant Friday evening to everyone. Let's talk about Burroughs High School basketball. The Burroughs girls easily defeated Rubidoux last night, 66-29. Now the girls will be in action Saturday. They'll play early Saturday evening in Pasadena against South Pasadena High School, who is a ranked opponent. If the girls can get the victory, chances are they'll get a home game here next Tuesday night in Ridgecrest. So Laura Larson's team, they move on to round number 2. Let's talk about Saracoso baseball. They won a doubleheader yesterday, 2 7-inning shortened games. They won the first game 8-6. They won the nightcap 7-1. James P. Pooley was a winning pitcher last night in game number 2. Pitched really, really well. Only allowed 3 hits in that second game. Only gave up 1 walk, struck out 5 batters. Looked very, very good. They also hit the ball pretty well. They'll be in action Tuesday. That game will be at home against Antelope Valley College. And then Thursday they'll play on the road against that same opponent, Antelope Valley College. On Thursday, the game will be broadcast live on KLOA 1240. Tuesday will be on the internet. If you're interested in finding Saracoso baseball on the internet, you can go to saracosobaseball.club, and there'll be a place to click on to get the games. All right, college basketball last night. UConn, a big win over SMU, 68-62. That keeps their NCAA tournament hopes of getting a good seed very much alive. Minnesota defeats number 6 ranked Maryland in Minnesota. Michigan State beats Wisconsin for the 5th time in a row. Denzel Valentine, 24 points, leading the way for the Spartans. Tulsa beats Cincinnati. That hurts their chances of getting into the tournament. And Gonzaga all over Pacific. Now, UCLA last night battled Utah tough. They were down a lot in the second half, came back, made a good game of it, and ended up losing 75-73. First time in 55 years that Utah has defeated UCLA in Los Angeles. Stanford also wins from the Pac-12. They beat Washington State, and USF beats Pepperdine. NBA, the Clippers take it to San Antonio. Good way to start off the post-All-Star break. The Clippers have acquired Jeff Green from the Pelicans, and the Cavaliers beat the Bulls last night. Derrick Rose, 28 points for Chicago. Kevin Love, 15 points for the Cavaliers. The Wizards also beat the Jazz. Now, the Clippers not only won last night, but they gave San Antonio one of their worst losses of the season, 105-83. Tonight, San Antonio plays the Lakers. The Lakers' first game back after the All-Star break. The Lakers currently 9 wins all season long. They're in last in the Pacific Division. All right, the Angels are going to start their baseball season without Albert Pujols. He had foot surgery to start off the year. They probably won't have him for at least the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. NHL last night, the Blues beat the Kings and the Ducks beat the Canucks. The Sharks, Capitals, Lightning, Rangers, and Senators also win in the NHL. Sean Marks has been named the new general manager of the New York Nets. He takes the place of Mark Ribbon, who had resigned, and he previously had been an assistant GM in San Antonio, talking about being with a great franchise, San Antonio, one of the best-run organizations in all of professional sports. That would be your sports for this Friday. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. Also, KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. Now stay tuned for Ridgecrest Talk, coming up next.